Hi everyone. Can someone from the participants please confirm if I am loud and clear, if my voice is clear, and if my video is also visible? Can someone please confirm from the participants list? Thank you so much for confirming. I am receiving many responses from all of you. Thanks for confirming. Here it is an evening, good evening from here in India. We are all excited to meet all of you and we welcome you all to the masterclass session that is going to happen today. Thank you so much. I see many of you confirming me that I'm loud and clear. Thank you for that. Okay, so we will be starting the session in a few more minutes. We will allow the time for other participants also to quickly join us, and they will also be able to listen to our session. But before that, we would like to have a quick activity with all of you present, because we would love to know about each and every one of you present here. So I would request everybody to please mention what is your current profession and which is a country you are currently joining from. If you're able to do that in the chat box, that would be great, and we will be excited to learn about each and every one of you present here today. Let us see who's going to be the first person who's getting the format right. A simple line about your current profession and which country you are from will do good for us. I'm seeing many messages rolling down. Let me quickly see what are the responses I'm getting. Okay, I think the first person was Sham from Nepal, who is a sales head. Hello, Sham. Welcome to the session. Benjamin is saying Benjamin is a teacher. Hi, Benjamin. Head of marketing from Bangladesh is Aminul. Yolandi is from South Africa, who is a student psychologist. Great. I'm getting a lot of responses and I'm just not able to read all the messages. But thank you all for all the lovely, introduction that you have already done. And we are excited to have all of you present here today. Elizabeth is a librarian from Kenya. That is wonderful. Sylvia is a teacher and a counselor. Hi, Sylvia. Okay, that was wonderful to listen from every one of you. I was, able to read only few responses because the chat is, running on a full swing. I'm not able to read all the messages, but thank you again. Now, without further ado, we will be starting the session, which is going to be the 2-hour masterclass session on career counseling, right? Now, I would like to let you all know that there are going to be two people, myself, Miss Caroline, and Miss Radha is also going to be here present in the session today. And I'm excited to meet all of you live finally. I'm sure many of you have been already in touch with me through the WhatsApp groups, right? And I've been posting messages, and you all have been wonderfully reacting to all those messages as well. And finally, we meet live, right? So the session, what are the key takeaways that you're going to take from this session is going to be that you will be learning from the industry expert. Here in this session, it is going to be Miss Radha Padmanabhan. Radha Padmanabhan is the national head for L&D and training department here in Edu Milestones. She has 30 plus years experience from various industry, right? Radha has also successfully trained over 1,500 plus career counselors from 27 plus different countries. We will be meeting Radha very shortly once we are all set and we are ready to listen for her masterclass session. So, what is going to be covered by Ms. Radha is basically going to be the career analysis based on Holland's interest inventory model. That is the topic Radha is going to take for the day, right? And she will also be covering multiple dimensional models used in career counseling. And not just that, we also have a very special guest speaker who's waiting to let us all know how do you start your first career counseling practice. And she will also be doing a live report interpretation for a case study, right? We have a lot in store for you. So stay tuned and stay connected. I would also request all of you to stay till the end to leverage all the exciting announcements that we are yet to release, right? So, a small introduction about me. I am Caroline. I will be the host for the masterclass today, right? And I'm very excited to be here. So, without further ado, let's go to the next slide. Great. I have a few quick tips and instructions that I would like to communicate to all of you. Right, I'm sure many of you have already started using the chat box to already introduce yourselves and communicate to us. Right, so you can continue using the chat box. If you have any questions, any queries, you can put it in the chat box. Team member of us is already noting down all your questions, and we will be answering all your questions in the dedicated Q&A that will happen at the end of the masterclass. We will make sure we answer all your questions. So take a notepad and note down all your questions and also put it in the chat box. That is a second tip. Now, to have a optimum visual experience, you would have to go on full screen, right? So if you're logged in from a laptop, so please double click on the screen so that you will be able to use full screen. If you have logged in from a mobile phone, you can make it into a landscape mode. All right. And finally, the important announcement you all have been already informed about, many of you are already aware of that. We will be announcing the special annual scholarship by the end of the webinar. So don't go anywhere and stay tuned till the end. Next slide, please. Right. So now we got to know about all of the press participants present here. We got to know about you, right? But now it is time for us to introduce ourselves. Okay. So who are we? We here in Edu Milestones, we started in the year 2008, right? And we have been a pioneer in the career counseling industry here in India. And as you're able to see the roadmap that is going across till the year 2023, every year we come up with new solutions, new products, and new programs for the benefit of the career counselors. And these are few of the milestones that we have achieved every single year, and I'm sure this is only the beginning, and we will have many more to come in the coming years as well. Next slide, please. Great. So we are present in 29 plus different countries. This is the footprint that we are currently possessing right now. I'm sure many of you who have joined today will be able to find your own country in the map that we have currently displayed, and we are constantly putting more and more efforts in expanding the footprint base globally as well. This is going to change very soon as well. Next slide. Now, not just that, we as a company was awarded twice in the year 2023 itself, right? We were awarded by Entrepreneur India as the best career planning platform for the year 2023. So this is a snippet of the award that our founders, are receiving the award from the, organization, and it's a very proud moment for us. The second award was by Asian Education, where we were awarded for our contribution as pioneers in the career counseling technology. This is where our co founder, Mr. Ankit, is receiving the award. And not just that, Mr. Ankit, who is our co founder and product director here, was listed among the top transformational leaders to watch for in the year 2023, which was also featured in Outlook, Business Standard, and ANI News. And these are recent feathers to a cap that was added recently. And I'm sure this is only the beginning for us to achieve more and more milestones. And I'm very happy and proud to share this with every one of you present here. Next slide, please. Great. Now we saw about us as a company. Now let us understand career counseling as an industry, right? Career counseling is a very well established industry. It is no more trending, it is no more a developing industry, because it is worth of 600 million USD as a whole industry as itself, right? So you will be able to see the screenshot of the demand analysis that we have done. On an average, every month there are 5 lakh plus Google searches that is happening only for career counseling. So you can imagine the amount of demand and the amount of searches that students and professionals are currently doing. That is only in Google. There are many other search engines as well, right? And left hand side, you're able to see the different keyword that the students and professionals are going to search for, right? And another important thing is that career counseling is a pandemic proof industry, because we ourselves have seen that during the COVID pandemic we saw an increase in the number of inquiries and searches on career counseling, because students were looking to find a pandemic and a recession proof job for themselves. And that is why career counseling has stayed a constant even in a situation like that. And professionals were looking to safeguard their job, where they were looking to upskill their knowledge, and they were looking to stabilize their career as well, right? So that is again an interesting fact about career counseling as an industry. Now, even though there is so much of requirement, there is a lot of shortage of career counselors, because globally hundreds of initiatives are being taken, are being conducted by institutions and governments to increase the pool of career counselors to meet the shortage that we are currently facing at, right? And United Nations has suggested that the global ratio for career counselor is to student has to be 1 is to 250. That is, for every 250 students there should be one career counselor, and that is not the current scenario, and that is why we are looking to change that statistic. I hope this slide I was able to help all of you to understand the importance of career counseling as an industry. Moving on to the next slide. Great. Now we saw the demand of career counseling. Now, if you also would like to be a part of this 600 million USD industry, if you are also passionate about become a professional career counselor, then you will have to mainly work on 3 essential areas of support. You will require help on these 3 areas. The first is going to be the domain knowledge training. Career counseling is a knowledge based industry, so you will definitely have to be trained on the different career counseling concepts, different theories, different techniques used, different career counseling tools used. How do you analyze your client, and how do you implement those into the career counseling recommendations that you're going to give? So that is one important. key essential area. Second is going to be you will have to have a credibility for yourself. So for that, you will have to have a accredited certificate as well, right? So career counseling is a profession where you don't need psychology as a background mandatorily. A certification is going to be enough for you to practice career counseling. And of course, if it is from a well reputed organization, then great. Finally, many of you present here might be very new to this industry. You might not have an experience as a career counselor. So, what happens is you will have to be given the dedicated hand holdings, which is going to help you to you will have to be also working on assignments and case studies, so that you are able to implement the knowledge that you gained during the training into your actual practice, right? So these are the key essential areas of support that you will require. Next slide, please. Great. Now, without further ado, I know everybody is eagerly waiting for the masterclass session to start. I can really sense the vibe that is currently going on right now. Without any more delay, I would like to, welcome Miss Radha Padmanabhan. Radha, are you in? So I'm honored to welcome Radha, and thank you so much, Radha, for training schedule that is currently going on, and you have decided to spend your time here in the live session for the masterclass.
It's my pleasure,
Hi,
Kavya.
Radha. Am I audible?
Hi.
Can you please
Yeah,
come
yeah,
in?
you are audible. Am I audible to you? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Radha, you are.
Thank you so much, and a very, very happy afternoon to everyone from different part of the world. I'm seriously excited to experience about an audience of about 400 plus. It's really a pleasure to actually have every one of you here. And thank you, Kavya, for a beautiful introduction. And I
Sure,
trust
Radha.
that we should do some justice with a huge expectation, whoever has come in today, right? So let us not further delay. We can start with the session, shall
Sure,
we?
Radha. Please take it over. The session is yours.
Thank you so much, Kavya. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon from different people from different part of the world who is actually having an afternoon now. This is an evening from India. So there are different people from different parts of different countries in the world, and happy and super excited to invite each one of you for this knowledge sharing session. Uh, can I request my team member to shift the screen, change the slide to the next slide? Yes, we will start with this. So, as already briefed by my colleague Caroline, career counseling is a process, right? In this process, we have 3 episodes of interaction with our candidates. The candidates may include a wide spectrum of target audience who can be from an age group of 6 years still working professionals. You might be wondering what would we be doing for the 6 years old child. You're right. The 6 year old child till 12 years, we would not be able to deal with their emotional areas to understand a career for them. The career planning starts from the middle school of the candidate. So I understand, and also all of you would agree with me. Globally, the middle school education starts from grade 7, 8, and 9. After 10, that is, after completing 9, from 10, 11, and 12, the high school education begins. And this is a stage the child has to begin choosing their foundational competencies towards their professional decision. Choosing an elective is identifying their foundational competencies, after which they step into the university studies. Or after completing the university studies, they would be actually catching up with their employment, where they may fall in the early or mid or senior career, where there can be a person from 1 year old experience till about 20 plus or 30 plus years of experience. So there are different needs for the different spectrum of target audience. So we start the career planning for candidates from grade 7, 8, 9 from the middle school level. In each of these segments, we try to understand their emotional aspects, such as personality, which is their own nature at work, and their interest, what they enjoy doing at work, so that it motivates them to develop their associated skills. And meeting those values in the specific work and how they are motivated by it, so that they can stay there for a longer stint and see the maximum benefits of their employment. And in every stage of their career graph, when they are upskilling themselves with newer skills, it is their own learning style which would be able to provide them the required support. So these four are highly emotional areas of an individual. So how do we, as a career guide or a career counselor, understand and give a self-awareness to the candidate is very critically important. Nobody is zero potential. Everybody have some efficiency in them. They hold some skills and they have their abilities to acquire newer skills also. But however, in order to be employed, are they job ready? So there are required skills. So these skills, what are their current level of availability? In order to develop those required skills for employment, the above four emotional aspects are highly contributive. So we actually carry out a psychometric test on these 5 dimensions, so that we can explore them to the entire set of career opportunities in the ecosystem. So the career opportunities in the ecosystem are broadly categorized as career clusters, career paths, occupations, or even job profiles. There is a well-known statistic that there are 20 plus career clusters available globally, which we call it as different fields. Under these 20 plus career clusters or fields, there are over 3,000 plus occupations, 12,000 plus job profiles. As a career expert, we must be familiar about all these statistics and information. In fact, the work natures differ. For each of the work nature, the educational qualification is also quite different. They take up different roadmaps, which we call it as career paths. So we find under 20 clusters, there are 154 career paths leading to 3,000 plus occupations or 12,000 plus job profiles to make a person suitable in which area. As a career guide, through the assessment with the 5 dimensions, we help them identify their most suitable career. I hope you will agree, it is not an easy job to keep discussing with a candidate about the 3,000 plus occupations or 12,000 plus job profiles. So the career assessment is largely instrumental in shortlisting the most suitable careers, and also we spend a time with them during counseling in indicating to them the areas which they are not suitable as well. That is complete counseling. This empowers even a 14-year-old child to make a career decision which they can lifelong keep growing. For this, an education roadmap is quite important. This is the important USP that you all can possess through this model, where you give them an execution plan which is actionable as an education roadmap. So the process 1, step 1 and step 2 includes your pre-counseling activities. And step 3 includes your during counseling activities, so that you don't invite a candidate extempore and start the discussion. So it's a very well-planned method of approaching the candidate. In fact, you can even finish your interaction on a counseling session with every candidate, each candidate, not more than 2 hours is required. And as a post counseling benefit, you can give them an education roadmap. How is this made possible? I need to actually tell you. How do you actually ask these questions to the people? Should we interact with them as a discussion? No. This has to be administered as a psychometric test, which can be not more than 1 hour's time. This assessment model is made or designed for 45 minutes. Next slide, please. So the assessment itself has been designed from some important theories which are largely renowned in the industry of career counseling. Some use questions from Carl Jung model, who lived in 19th century. Myers and Briggs is also one of the renowned model, which actually was later developed in 20th century. Big Five is actually a new age theory in personality analysis. We also have career interest based analysis. This is largely, renownedly known as RIASEC theory. This was given to us by John Holland, or an hexagonal model. In fact, I'm going to be discussing certain interesting areas of this particular theory today. You can have an introductory idea about how to approach a career mapping to a candidate in any of these stages where you do a career planning using John Holland model. Okay, next slide, please. In order to understand the learning style, few people use WARC theory as well. And while understanding the current level of skills and abilities, David Battery's differential aptitude method is approached for people who are in the adult category. When it is a children between 6 years to 12 years, we have Harvard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. These are various theories from which we can create various assessments in order to approach the career guidance. As I already told you, that I'm going to give you a small snippet, an experience, if in case you use John Holland model of career interest inventory. How do you do the interest profiling of a person, right? Without any further ado, next slide, please. John Holland refers that each and every one of us in our career environment hold about 6 interest factors which are inside us as our emotions. Interest is about enjoying to do something at work, right? These 6 interest factors include realistic interest, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional interest. I'm going to be giving you an overview about what are the characteristics of these each interest factors. Next slide, please. First, to know about realistic interest. People with realistic interest are called as doers. They enjoy doing hands-on practical activities. Hands-on practical activities includes physical task where there is a bodily kinesthetic involved. These physical tasks may be either indoor or outdoor. Whenever indoor, we watch them using tools, raw materials, objects, or machineries in their work activities. They involve into production, manufacturing, or they involve into sports or logistic transportation. And the picture on the screen shows about the public safety and security. People who are on the operation sides of the public safety and security are most of the time outdoor. So careers related to science and technology, science and biology, travel and tourism, public safety and security, sports will have realistic interest as a dominant interest. I hope This has given a clarity about what is realistic interest. Next slide, please. Can you change the slide? Yes. The second interest factor is about investigative interest. This is about a person's enjoyment on deep thinking, through deep thinking, enjoying to research. Through enjoying to research, they also analyze, applying their high-level intellect. Any work nature which involves intellectual problem solving, you can find they are largely connected in careers related to science or technology or even mathematics. So you can find investigative interest is high in that individual. So such people are good to take careers related to a doctor in the medical field. It can be into general medicines or alternative medicines or paramedical. They will definitely have investigative interest being dominant on their priorities. A software engineer, be it in software as a service or product as a service or infrastructure as a service. Any scientist, including a data scientist, who involve into research design or into research and development, will have investigative interest more dominant in them, including an architect. We find an architect also resolves applying their high-level intellect in solving a building design problem, which is yet to be constructed. Excellent, no? Next slide, please. The next interest that we would be getting to know is about artistic interest. People with artistic interest are called as creators. They enjoy coming out with a lot of creative ideas. These creative ideas can come out of the box thinking laterally through their imagination, or something which is originally available without disturbing its originality, presenting it with versatility, different from the usual, is also signified as creativity, which can be built with aesthetics and helps us giving us a visualization of a bigger picture. This is high in careers related to arts and language arts. This can be connected with fine arts, drawing, painting, sculpting, or visual arts, or it can include design arts, even performing arts and language arts. The field arts and language arts, every occupation will have artistic interest as a most dominant interest. Wherever the career has got, the work nature has got, any of these or all of these, you find artistic interest is very high. Can we move to the next slide, please? Right, the picture itself can show social interest. People with social interest are called as helpers. Social interest, they enjoy connecting with others. This can be one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many, in order to help them, in order to provide support to them, or provide any kind of services which can be for their well-being, being warm and caring of them, or projecting an empathy or sympathy on others, understanding others' pain, and raise their support or services. Who else? People who are connected with nursing in the medical field, paramedical. The people who are into the field of psychology, who deals with the mental health of people. When I say psychology, this can also include clinical as well as counseling psychology. When I said counseling psychology, if each one of us have that in our emotions, we all are perfectly fit to become a counselor. Because of our social interest being high, we understand what others are going through in making a decision for their career. Every career counselor also wanted to take up that as their profession because of social interest being very high in them. When I said that connecting with one-on-one or one-to-many, so their public services connected with social welfare or community servicing, all these also are the work natures which will have social interest being very high in them. People choose such profiles because of this interest being very highly dominant in them. Next slide, please. Next is an interest which is enterprising interest. So people with enterprising interest are called as persuaders. These people are also called as influencers. They enjoy influencing others whenever there is a business objective, whenever there is a leadership, and also risk taking. When I say leadership, leadership includes problem solving as well. There are two kinds of problem solving. We'll have to know to discriminate it. One is applying our high level intellect and solving problem. Second is understanding a situation where somebody is fixed and we put our efforts to bail them out of the situation. It is situational problem solving which brings in a leadership in us and others are ready to follow us. You can find when we influence others for business objective, leadership and risk taking is very high in careers related to business management in an entrepreneurship or an entrepreneurship profile. Wherever there is a leadership, involved in the work nature. You can know this is high in the case of politicians also. The careers related to media and communication and also lawyers. Lawyers are very highly involved with influencing the entire legal atmosphere. They are situational problem solvers of who are fixed on a legal problem. So enterprising interest is very high or a dominant interest in such careers. Next slide, please. So we have come to the last but not the least interest, which is conventional interest. So conventional interest people are also known as organizers. We know conventional also speaks about, the traditional approach. So people who are having high conventional interest, they are enjoying to work with numbers, figures, data, and they are highly detailed oriented. The numbers and the figures and the data can be a real time or even an unclear data, fuzzy data. It could be in a structured or an unstructured data. They enjoy working when the data is very clear and factual and organized. They would like to simply follow it as a system. Whenever it is actually fuzzy or unclear or unstructured, they organize and create it as a system and regulate it. And they are able to administer any kind of a policy which they are able to manage the work system. Any career work natures related to government services. Or you can take in case of legal system, a judiciary, who is into the legal administration centrally. People who work for any kind of administration, it could be into educational administration as a librarian or a head of an education institution. Or the work natures involved with accounting and finance. Wherever you find management principle includes planning, organizing, monitoring, and controlling. Wherever such areas there are in the part of work nature, you find conventional interest is very, very high. So, the realistic interest is physical activity, investigative interest is intellectual activity, artistic interest is creative activity, social interest is helping activity, Enterprising interest is actually influencing for business objective and leadership activities and risk taking. And conventional interest is for organizing and administrative activities. Every work nature is possible to have a combination of all. But based on the combination, how do we map careers? Next slide, please. According to John Holland model, we consider the interest factor of an individual, which are lying as their priorities in their top 3 dominant interests. Now, each of the interest factor after the assessment can be independently measured in a scale of 100. Based on their response, the scorecard reflects it in a descending order. The top 3 scores are identified and a career suiting to those top 3 interest factors are recommended that that particular career is most suitable for the individual. For example, from a candidate's report, after the assessment, we have identified conventional interest is the primary interest and enterprising interest is the secondary interest and investigative interest is the tertiary interest. So in a place where a person who would like to work with data, connected with influencing and business, which also involve analysis, can be a career which is most suitable for an accountant. This is how we actually find the correlation between the primary, secondary, and the tertiary interest. Next slide, please. I will give you one more example. We find enterprising, social, and conventional as a priority of a candidate under the top 3 dominant interest factors. Enterprising is influencing for a business objective, leadership, and risk taking, and where we are connecting with people and also highly organized. So in a business environment, who is giving more importance to people and also following the organized method of working can be fit for an human resource professional or a public relation professional. This can be also suitable for hospitality. So like this, I will be giving few interest combinations. In this short interaction, I'm just going to make a quick check about how much you are able to absorb the concepts, for which I will run a polling. I will float certain combination of interest factors and also give you certain careers which are available as options. You can use your chat window to publish your answers, or even you can answer directly on the poll. I would encourage you to directly reflect your answers on the poll. Let me see how many maximum people are ready to become career counselors with this short interaction. I know I'm very spontaneous. This is something which is my mischievousness. When I actually learn people somebody, I simultaneously ensure the effectiveness. So I will float a question on the screen. I will also call it out. The first question is about, I'm publishing it. This is an interest combination of realistic, investigative, and conventional interest priorities as top 3. Realistic interest is the primary interest where there is physical activity high. And the secondary interest is investigative, where intellectual problem solving is also involved. And the third one is, please have a careful note, it is conventional interest. This is working with the structure or any kind of data. The options given include architecture, hospitality, engineering, and dentist. You can know that here the physical activity is very high. It is seriously so very encouraging for me to find people giving correct answers are maximum. Being the first example, this includes high-level physical activity, intellectual problem solving, and also data and being organized and working in a structured way. I can see 48% of people have lodged the correct answer. I'm ending the poll here. The correct answer is engineering. How is it feeling for those who gave the right answer? Fabulous, isn't it? Others, don't give up. I have some more questions. This can be with another interest factor. Yes, this includes conventional interest as primary interest, enterprising as secondary interest, investigative interest as tertiary interest. The options include civil administrative officer, librarian, air traffic signal controller, and an accountant. Once again, I can find maximum number of people have given the correct answers. I think you people are already in career counseling, or you're so very sharp in grasping the subject matter. 51% of the people have given the right answer, which is accountant. Wow. Sounds interesting, right? Let me see how you are handling the next question. The next question will be, primary interest is social, secondary interest is enterprising, and tertiary interest can be artistic or investigative. The option includes civil services, career counselors, doctors, logistics and supply chain management. Kavya, I trust there is a maximum participation, correct?
Yes, Radha, there is a lot of
And
participation
I am
happening.
sure out of the 483 people available today here, 70% of the people are made or born to become career counselors. So they are very well knowing about the right combination which is suitable to become a career counselor. I think they have these interest priorities high in them. Do you agree with me? Absolutely amazing to see all career counselors here. I found 60% of people have lodged the correct answer, career counselor, social, enterprising, and artistic or investigative priorities. Wow, it's simply super. In a short interaction, you people are able to give so much of information, right? Should I give one more? Do you need one more polling? You're already there, clear, no? Or if you want to come for the training, I think you can become masters in this area. I think I will stop this because you should also know about how do you learn this become an expert or become an excellent person in this domain. Can we finish up with the polling with here, Kavya? I think there is, in the interest of time, I have another 3 minutes to speak about what we can actually deliver to them in the format of training. Do you want one more example, or can I switch to the screen?
Yes, Radha, we are actually receiving very good responses, but in lieu of time, I think we can move to the next slide.
Right. So I'm stopping with the polling. Kindly, Abhishek or Shreyas, you can start. See, in a short interaction, it is exciting for you, right? So you have learned this one dimension, but there is always $1 million question in each of your mind. What are the limitations of using only interest as a dimension? What if their nature, personality could be actually reflecting about them? How do we find correlation between interest and personality? In fact, these two are pillars in career analysis. So even in case if a person's interest is adaptable to change, we can make an approach with 5 dimensions, right? We can find the correlation between these 5 dimensions through a multidimensional approach. Next slide, please. We train people. How? We use career personality as a dimension. Then we also use career interest as a second dimension. And in the fourth circle here in this Venn diagram, you can see the values that can motivate a person that they are finding in the job, and their own learning style are also emotional. Even their skill and ability can be considered. Based on the 5 dimension, we can find correlation between them, and wherever there is an integration, we can recommend and give them multiple choices. Out of 154 careers, when there is a correlation between all the 5, the same can be recommended as a top choice. When there is a marginally lesser correlation, which can be a second layer of recommendation, can be given as good choices. We can find people in school education, they are yet to start their career journey. So recommending a top or good choice is highly possible for them. Sometimes people who are planning for a career, but they may not be, they must be informed. So where they should not be going, or wherever they go, what can be the challenges? Which are the don'ts can also be given to them as an understanding in the format of recommendations, which are under optional and avoid. So totally out of 154 career paths listed under 20 career fields, we can have 4 levels of recommendations. Top choice, where there is the highest suitability, and good choice, which is there a marginal level of lower suitability, but they can adapt. Optional and avoids are the areas to restrict them not experimenting into those careers and finding a stress, so that they are emotionally successful in their career life as well. So this is carried out as an assessment and can be generated as a report too. Next slide, please. So we offer this learning in the format of a Certified Career Analyst Program. Once you get trained in this program, you learn about career counseling as a process and the various theories on these dimensions, which is importantly applied globally. You can have an in-depth understanding about how to analyze personality independently, interest, values, learning style, and also the emotional quotient, which can be applied for the professionals from graduate university level or freshers or working professionals, to provide them career guidance, and also how to analyze their skills and abilities. So I would also be including in the certification model as a 4-dimensional approach, which is cluster analysis, and a 5-dimensional approach, which is career path analysis. So when I complete all the above, you understand the core methodology involved in giving recommendation and providing a career guidance. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So this can be applied for your target audience who are in middle school education between 13 years to 16 years, high school education between 17 years to 19 years, and university education who can be in undergraduate or post graduation from 20 to 24 years, even freshers, and senior working professionals from 1 year to 15 to 20 years, who is looking for a mid-career change or even a parallel or a second innings in their life. Next slide, please. So this is delivered as a training program. We will be listening about this training program, how it is going to be delivered. So over to you, Kavya, to take it up from here. And if you want me again for any kind of clarifications, would be happy to be. And thank you. I hope each and everyone had a good time. And welcome, Ume. Nice to have you here. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Radha, for the wonderful session, the masterclass session that you have taken us, and it was really insightful and inspiring. I'm sure the participants enjoyed your session, and they were also very participating in the poll as well, right? So we would definitely require your presence in the Q&A as well. So we will meet you again.
Sure.
Thank you. So on that note, we have a very special guest speaker, like I already told. We have here with us Miss Umme Salma. Umme Salma is a mental health professional. She is also a career and personal coach. Umme Salma was trained and certified by our own Edu Milestones organization, right? Right now, she is a founder of Enlightened Community, that is her company, right? Ume Salma has been, working in the field of career counseling, and she has been reaching out to more than 200 plus education institutes and corporates, and she has touched the lives of more than 30,000 plus students, parents, educators, and professionals. So, Ume Salma will be taking us through on how to start your counseling, how to start your first career counseling sessions, right? Hi, Uma. Hi, Ume.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm very happy
Great.
to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Even though you were not keeping well, you decided to, have your presence here with us. Thank you so much for that. Hope you're feeling better.
My pleasure.
Great.
Yes.
So without any further ado, Ume Salma, you may take over the session on your presentation.
Thank you so much, Kavya. Thank you. So let's begin. I'll just share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so we go on to the first slide. So the topic that I'm going to talk about is, which is a concern for most counselors when they initially start off, and that is how to start their first counseling session. And a lot of people get trained, they may have done various courses, however they have this anxiety or fear or challenge, as to will I be able to do it. And most career counselors, or even trained professional, even though they may have been working in the field, there is some amount of anxiety always there. And why do people experience, and what kind of anxiety they experience? So let's talk about the various challenges that even trained professionals feel when they have to start counseling, or when they have to start, especially with their first client. So the first challenge, of course, and which we experience in most life situations, is the fear of unknown or lack of self-confidence. A lot of us, when we begin something new, may feel, what is going to happen, or what are we going to do in that session. Most of our fears are related to, oh, will I be able to deliver well? Or am I going to help the student right? Or will I be able to guide the student? Or will I have the right knowledge? Or what if the parent asks me something that I do not know? Then what do I do in that situation? So there is this lack of self-confidence that always affects us. The second challenge that many counselors face is where to start. So yes, I may have received a particular training, but still, the thing is, I should get students, right? That's how do I approach people, or how do I approach parents, or how do I have students? So where do I start from? And third is, what is the process? So sometimes there is no clarity in the process. As you saw in the previous training, we spoke about one aspect, which is the career interest, the Holland's model. And however, there are many aspects, and then, as we said, it's a multidimensional model. Career counseling, when we use various assessments, we analyze it, and we follow a systematic process. So what I'm going to discuss is, how do we overcome these three challenges? The most important thing is, when we talk about overcoming challenges, is of course self-confidence. Okay, and self-confidence comes by acquiring knowledge. When you know what you're supposed to do, how to do it, you feel a lot more confident. Now, many a time what happens is, when you're a new counselor, you may think, I may not know everything. How is it possible that I will know about each and every career? What are the entrance exams? How long the courses are? Which university offers which courses? All that knowledge you may not have. But is it required that one should have all the possible knowledge? Yes, it is good to have knowledge, but you may not always have everything. But what you need to know is, what are the sources of knowledge? Can you guide the student right? So when somebody comes, do you have the right knowledge to deliver it? What is important is the skills of counseling. If you have the skills, you will be able to even give the knowledge. And the skills come by practice. The more you practice it, the more you get, the more you research, the more you learn, you acquire that knowledge, and you gain confidence. You can acquire knowledge, gain confidence also by, reading up a lot, taking up assignments, case studies. And the most important subject is yourself. So in any, before you counsel somebody else, one has to understand ourselves first. As previously spoken, the first step to career counseling is always knowing oneself, right? So when we talk about knowing oneself, you have to start with your own self. So you need to analyze yourself, understand your strengths, your weaknesses in terms of careers, what areas I'm interested in, what kind of person I am, what kind of personality I have, what kind of interest I have, what are my values, what are my career motivators, how I am emotionally. All that introspection is required. Now, that introspection you can do, of course, by yourself or with the help of somebody else. A more scientific way of doing it is through a career battery. You could do a career battery or a career test, a multidimensional career test on yourself, and try and understand, what I'm going to guide students. Can I guide myself first? Is it matching? Analyze yourself properly first, okay? And know yourself well. After that, in order to gain confidence, always counsel students. Okay. So now where will you get these students? And that's a worry, initially, because when you yourself are not confident, you are thinking, should I approach a student? And what if I don't do well? But you will have around you various your friends, your relatives, or in society, there will be students available whom you will know. What you could do is, you could offer, say, the first 5 to 10 students, your service is free of cost, where you tell them that I have just undergone a particular course in career counseling, and I would like to guide you. I would like to guide you. And I'm sure students will be more open to it. And in that process, you learn a lot and you feel a lot more confident. And when you guide somebody well, of course, they will have something to share. And when they go through the process is helpful. They will also be able to give a positive feedback about you. And step 5, in order to gain confidence, is to have a mentor. So when you are new into a field, any field, it is good to have somebody experienced, to have a mentor. And that mentor can help you and guide you. So when you do your first student or a second student or third student, I would always recommend you share it with your mentor, where you discuss the details of the student, their report, you analyze it in detail, what recommendations come out, what would be best suited in, what areas we should avoid. All that can be discussed with the mentor, or how you are going to go through the counseling process. Everything could be discussed with the mentor previously before you actually take the session. If you do this at least 3 or 5 times with your mentor, believe me, the 6th time you do it, you will feel confident about yourself. So these are some steps that one can do in order to feel confident and gain knowledge. Of course, the most important thing is also to know the process. Okay, so this is another challenge. Now I have gone through a training. However, what is the process that I need to follow? In the initial session, the process was very well explained. If you saw, the first part, it is about knowing yourself. Then it is about knowing options. How do I go about doing it? Then you make a proper action plan. This process, I'm going to simplify for you. Okay. So the first step, when we talk about knowing yourself, okay, when I say knowing yourself, not knowing you, but knowing the student, okay, in terms of which careers are best suited. So for that, before you even go to an assessment, or you use a multi-dimensional model, or you use a psychometric assessment in order to understand the student, you first do a pre-counseling session. Now, what is this pre-counseling session? A pre-counseling session is a session which you take initially with a student in order to understand the student well. Okay? And in this pre-counseling session, what do? You do not speak. You listen. You ask right questions. You ask questions about what are the student's strengths? What are the areas that the student needs to work on? What are the student's hobbies? Tell me something about yourself. How do you visualize yourself in future? What are your aspirations? What are the parental aspirations? So you ask questions related to their career to the student. When you ask such questions, of course, the student opens up, okay, and will share a lot of information with you, which is a very important aspect of rapport building. Rapport building is the trust that you have in another person, and that is developed only by asking the right questions and listening. When you listen and keep the information, whatever is shared by the student to you, confidential, that helps in the rapport building process. And that you need to, of course, whenever, in any counseling session, when you are talking to a student, you always say, that the information is going to be confidential, because it always helps the student to then open up. So the rapport building is an important aspect, because it gives confidence to the student in you. And you need to give confidence to the student by saying that, okay, I'm going to help you in this process. And no matter what stage you are at, maybe you are at a confused stage now, but we are doing this process and we will help you. By the end of it, hopefully you will have a good idea which career path you should get into. Now, so we spoke about the pre-counseling and rapport building, which is what the student says about himself when it comes to knowing oneself. But a scientific way of knowing oneself is, of course, a career report, okay, or a psychometric assessment, a career assessment. A career assessment gives you a 360-degree analysis of what was just explained to you in terms of when we talk about a multi-dimensional assessment. It measures one on interest, personality, aptitudes and skills, work motivators, values, work values, and based on emotional quotient, based on everything, there are various careers that are recommended, whether they are good choice or good options for them. So you do a 360-degree analysis. Once you do an analysis, that analysis is done, of course, in the form of a career report. And after that, you have a one-to-one counseling session with the parent and the child, or depending upon who your client is, whether it's a professional, then you may have it alone, or whether it's a student, then sometimes you have it with a parent. And depends upon the age of the student whether they want a parent to be present or not. So based on that, you will have a counseling session. And in the counseling session, you discuss the report, you discuss what are the best options, you analyze each and everything, and you explain in a very scientific manner as to what recommendations come and why they are recommended and what is best suited. And you match it with the student's aspiration and whatever the student has shared. It is very important that the last step, which is, and many career counselors miss out on it, is making an action plan for the child or an education part. An action plan is basically an execution plan for the student, where you mention, okay, so at the end, after you have done the entire analysis, which are the best recommendations, and what are those 3 careers or 4 careers that you both have concluded, what they are about, how long the courses are, what are the bachelor's courses, or what are the master's courses, what are different specializations in that career options, how long the courses are, what is the entrance exam. All that information is provided in a document as a form of an action plan. And you can always have a follow-up session with the client also, in terms of, maybe after 3 months or 4 months, as to how they are doing, just to know. So generally, this is the process that is followed, which starts from, of course, the pre-counseling, then the assessment, then the counseling, and then a follow-up after an action plan is made. So first you make an action plan, and of course, once everything is locked, then you can have a follow-up session after 3 months or 6 months, depending upon what has been discussed with the client. So this is the process. Moving forward, what I will share with you is a career report, and I will show how a scientific career report looks like. So let's look at this report. Can everyone see my screen? Yes. So you can see this is a career report, and I'm going to scroll and explain to you how the report looks like. So here, as we go down, you can see it shows you the profiling of the student. Where does the student presently stand? Is he at an ignorant stage? That means he has no idea about where he's heading towards or which career option he should get into. Or is he at a confused stage? Confused stage, maybe I'm confused. I have 4 or 5 options, but I don't know what. I'm completely confused. Or is he at a diffuse stage? May have some idea, but not complete idea. Or methodological stage. Methodological student may have a lot more idea, but not complete idea. And optimize means the student has a good idea about which careers they want to get into. So when you do a profiling, you get an idea about where does the student currently stand. As we go further, as you see, there is the assessment, a career assessment. This is a multidimensional career assessment of Edu Milestone, and the personality of the student is measured. So in a personality, of course, there are various aspects, various traits that are measured. As you see on the screen, there's introverted versus extroverted, sensing versus intuitive, thinking versus feeling, judging versus perceiving. And as we have previously discussed, that personality is important when it comes to career, because people have different personalities matches different careers. For example, somebody who's an extrovert would be more comfortable, and feel energized being with people or working with people, training, counseling, than somebody maybe, who does not like to interact with people. So these personality traits are important to be considered. Now, if you see here in this report, the student shows that he is extroverted, which means he's talkative, he's energized, and likes to spend a lot of time with other people. Intuitive, which means that they are more imaginative, open-minded, and curious. And they basically intuitive people, they look at the bigger picture, they try to find out facts. Thinker thinker is a person, mostly people with this trait, they are more logical and analytical when it comes to taking decisions. Judging, people who are high on judging, they prefer to have a very planned and orderly way of life. Then the report will show you the strengths. Okay, so if you have this kind of a personality trait, what are the strengths of your personality? So it shows, self-confident, energetic, efficient thinking, and various other things. Next, what the report shows is your career interest types. Okay, so this is what you went through in the training today. So the career interest types, we spoke about the 6 career interests, and then we look at the top 3 career interests. In this case, as you can see in the report, the top 3 interest areas are enterprising, investigative, and social. Okay, as you all know, people who are high on enterprising, they have very high leadership skills, they like to do things. So in this client or in this student's report, as we can see, enterprising is a trait that is high, along with investigative and social. Next, we move on to career motivators. Okay, so the report shows career motivators. It means what motivates them in terms of career. And as we see, the top 2 career motivators here are adventure, means the student or the client loves to have adventure when it comes to work also, and likes a very high pace environment. And as we saw previously also, the student is extroverted and very enterprising, and he likes adventure, he likes a high pace environment. Okay, so these are top 2. And if you see, the last is creativity. So maybe this student or this client does not enjoy so much of creativity, but likes to do things and likes a very high paced environment. Next, if you go further, you will see in the report that it also mentions the students' learning styles. When we talk about learning styles, it helps us to understand how the student learns generally. Okay, a lot more and in this case, it is the student's learning style is auditory, which means when the student hears information, he is able to learn and process information better. So as you see, the auditory learning style is high. Here, the report also gives you various tips. So you have the auditory learning style, what it actually means, and various learning improvement strategies. So if you're an auditory learner, what are the things you can do in order to learn better? Okay. Next in the report, you will see skills and abilities. As we said, in a multidimensional model, it is important to know about interest, personality, but it is also important to understand what are the students' present level of skills and abilities. So here you can see various skills are measured. Numerical ability, the ability to deal with numbers, understand numerical data. Logical ability, it is basically how well you are when it comes to analytical information. Verbal ability, which is your communication skills, or how good you are with maybe, your verbal and written communication. Your clerical and organization skills, how organized is the student, so how well he can plan, organize, schedule, or manage his various resources and meetings. Spatial and visualization ability, it is how well a student can visualize and think in 3-dimensional. Leadership and decision making skills that and social and cooperative skills. Mechanical ability, it's your ability to basically deal with mechanical principles, applications of physics. So all these skills are also taken into consideration in a report. As we move forward, you will see, there are various career clusters that are given, and which career cluster is best suited for the students are also shared. So here in this report, you can see, business management comes on top. And as we have seen throughout the report, the student is an extrovert, has high leadership skills, is social and cooperative skills is good, is a go-getter, likes adventure. So all that taking into consideration, we see that his report also shows that business management, hospitality and tourism, marketing and advertising are coming as his top areas. And as we move forward, you can see the top clusters have been mentioned with details in the report. What it actually means is all given in the report. As we scroll further, we see various subjects also. So what are the top subject recommendations for the students are also shared. And last, we come to the career paths. So as I was sharing, when we talk about the process of career counseling, it is important to know the career paths, which careers would be best suited for the student, and then make an action plan. So this is the last but the most important bit, because here you see, all the career paths that are best suited for the students are mentioned. Various career clusters. So for this student, for example, business management, and in business management, which are the different careers. And here you can see there is a psychoanalysis and there is a skill analysis. Where does the student fall? Whether he is high or low is written, and which is the top choice for the student, which is a good choice for the student, is mentioned in the comments. So that helps you to get a good understanding about the student's interest. Anything that is a good choice or a top choice is good for the student. That means the skills, abilities, aptitude, the interest, personality, everything matches. And here, if you see, all the careers are given in detail. So when you are counseling a student, of course, you take the report into consideration, you take the aspirations, whatever has been discussed, all that, and then you match. And in the end, you make a good action plan with all the details and share it with the client. Okay, so this report ends here. And as I said, the action plan is extremely important, and that's how the report is used in the whole process of counseling. So that's it from me. Kavya, you can take over.
Thank you so much, Ume Salma. It was a very wonderful and an insightful session that you have taken, and I'm sure it was very inspiring for all the aspiring participants who are present here, that they will be able to take a decision accordingly. Right? So thank you once again for joining us, and please take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Bye. Next slide, please. So we now learned about the CCA program, Certified Career Analyst Program, right? We are going to currently be looking at how the training is going to transform you as a professional career counselor. I'm sure many of you present right here, at some point of your life, you would have informally given some sort of career advice. You would have given informally given them a career advice and career guidance, right? It can be anybody that you might have known, but here, after the training, you would be transformed into a professional career counselor, right? So our CCA, Certified Career Analyst Program, caters to that exact requirement of changing your approach into a formal, professional, and an objective approach. You will be trained on the different psychometric tests that you will be using for a deeper and then scientific analysis. You will be knowledgeable on what are the different factors that is going to influence the career choices of your students. I'm sure even though you would have done this informally, many of you would like to do this in a structured way, right? So this training is going to help you how to structure and deliver your career counseling in a detailed manner. You will also be trained on how to thoroughly evaluate your clients with different dimensions that are available. And You will also be able to narrow down the non-suitable careers. You will be able to eliminate the non-suitable careers, and you will be able to focus and recommend the suitable career to your clients with the exact reasons, and you will also be able to justify those reasons with scientific analysis. And finally, you will be able to design and recommend an education roadmap which your clients can follow. Right? I hope this slide helped you to understand how the training is going to transform you into a professional career counselor. Next slide, please. Great. Now we will be looking at the schedule of the CCA program. The entire program is scheduled for 1 month, right? And in this 1 month, it is divided into 4 different weeks. The first week, it is going to be live and interactive online training sessions by an industry expert. In this case, it is going to be Miss Radha herself. That's right. Radha will be taking this session on Zoom. It is going to be a flexible timing for you as well. And we take only 10 participants in one particular batch. We don't take more than 10, so that we don't compromise on the training quality, so that you will get more time to discuss with the trainer. You will get more time to clear your doubts and understand the entire curriculum, right? And this training is going to happen for 5 days, and each session will be for 3 hours each. Second, third, and the fourth week, it is going to be self-paced learning, one-on-one with the trainer, and you can book your appointments with Radha mutually convenient time. You will be working on case studies and practice tests on week 2, 3, and 4. Finally, you will be giving an online examination. Once you are thorough with using the practice tests, once you're confident, you will be giving the online exam for your certification purpose. That is going to be the CCA online exam. I hope this slide was clear for everybody. Next slide, please. Again, reiterating, the training is going to be a flexible one. The timing of the training is going to be 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian time. The exact same time that each and every one of you joined for the session today, it is going to be the same time in your country as well. From there on, it will continue for 3 hours, right? And all the sessions will be recorded for your reference. Though they are live and live and interactive sessions, these sessions will be recorded and given to you for your future reference. All right, next slide, please. Now we are looking at a live certificate of Miss Moji Sola. Right, so Moji Sola has finished her Certified Career Analyst training and certification program. You are able to see the different course accreditations in the right hand side, right? The first accreditation is from ACCPH, which is a UK based organization. The second organization is BCPA, which is one of India's largest psychology association. So this is going to be a dually accredited certificate, and it is also lifetime valid, right? We are also organizational members of APCDA and IAAP. So all of the 4 different organizations will be mentioned in your certificate as well. Right, so there are many other questions and comments coming in the chat box, but unfortunately, due to lieu of time, I will not be able to go through all the comments and questions. But anyway, your business consultants are in touch with you. They will be the best people to answer all your questions as well, and help you with the process for enrollment. So please get in touch with them. And on that note, we will be winding up the session. Thank you so much, Radha, for staying till the end and answering all the questions very patiently for all the participants present here.
It's my pleasure, and I would take this opportunity to make a special appreciation on you to actually having moderated this 2 hours of session, where I'm sure people have been, very clear about how the model works. And behind the screen, I would like to also share this appreciation with Abhishek and Shreyas, and also the brains behind, especially, a great credit to Ankit and Vipin, our founders, who have actually contributed in organizing this particular mega event. I hope everybody is actually happy with the event completely. Looking forward to meet you all in a workshop, which is next scheduled. Thank you.
Definitely. Very well said, Radha. A session like this doesn't happen overnight. There are a lot of effort that goes behind, a program like this by the team, right? I would
Yes.
especially again like to thank Vipin, Ankit, Fatima, Radha, you as well, Abhishek, Shreyas, and Sneha, among all the team members who have been, constantly working behind this, right?
Definitely.
Having said that, not just us, we would also like to thank all the participants so much for joining us, for being part of this wonderful session and staying till the end patiently, right? Our team is ready to reach out to all of you personally, and they will help you with the further process, right? Thank you once again, and goodbye.
Bye.